One. Bam. Hey team, how we going? It is Kaz from In the Trenches with Kaz. It is Lauren here in slips. It is PC Ghoul from YouTube who has done this backdrop for us. He doesn't know I exist, but I'm trying to offer him money in comments and he hasn't answered yet. And I'd like to say welcome. Welcome to Friday, the very first day of October. You will never get this day ever again. And we're here to bookend it. And so I hope you're enjoying the month so far. And we're going to be talking about real shit tonight, not Trippy Tarka's dreams. Right. So, Lauren, can you please help me, one, with saying g'day, but then two, help me through the messages because I'm about as blind as a eyeless potato.
Sure I will. Yeah, it's the first day of my birthday month, so I'm so excited.
16th.
All right. Yeah, exactly. We've got Daz here, Jay Hayes is here, of course. Joshua Fawns, Jay Magnifico is here, Dave Dean. It's always nice to see Dave, and he can join us.
Damn leadership.
Yeah. I think I said Daz already. Xbox King's here. Nicole King is here. And Hamish Edwards is here.
Sounds intelligent, leather books.
Yeah, it does. Bailey's Hat is here.
Bailey's hat. Your hat just blew into Elton John's room. It landed on his bed. What's his favourite drink? Bam, Elton John. It'd have to be Coca-Cola, wouldn't it?
Okay.
Sorry.
Strike W is here. Joseph's Fitness is here. Daniel McAleer is here.
That's a nice name.
Yeah, Keegan Ronan is here. Justin Droney is here. Sheepdog is here.
Yes, Sheepdog is one of our newest and former professional basketballers.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he's in Patreon at the moment.
Oh, there you go. Mason Thomas is here. David Penson. Oh, they can't hear me. I'm too quiet.
Rock Mason Thomas.
Yep. Dave Penson says I'm too quiet. Ibrahim's here.
Ibrahim.
Yep. Leo Wanker is here.
Hashtag
Leo.
me too.
Yeah, and that's about everybody.
Well, it's good to have you here, guys and gals. We don't know what is in store as the world slides further into Calamity Jane as the days go on. And the one thing we can guarantee is if it makes sense in your guts, in your heart, then it's probably going to be the opposite side of the coin of what's happening in this world, which is the reason why we've reversed back within the topic, the niche that is the military, Air Force, Army, Navy, more infantry, the sharpest end, and asking you to silence your critics with questions rather than blank looks. And that is to be able to actually answer yourself when you say, what does the Army give me? And I'm not talking about Australian Army, I'm talking about any army in the Western world. But you could replace Army with tattooing. You could replace it with NRL now that we know about traumatic brain injury. You could do it with veterinarian. Why would you, if you love animals, why would you go in a job where you only see injured animals?
They have a very, very high S-word rate.
Yeah, self-deletion rate. I didn't know that until you told me today.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. It's so strange, isn't it?
How's the sound going for us, team? Is it all good? Joshy Fawns, 3 thumbs up there, trying to bring out the ghost of Ivan Milat.
Yeah, other than me, I think it's good.
Okay. We've got the New Zealand version of Stickman, which would be called Stuckman. I miss New Zealand. I want to go back there as one of the first places when all the borders open up again. And if you've never been there, you need to go there. It is magnifico.
Yeah, I hear it's a beautiful place.
So beautiful. And you also get, you know, an extra 15 cents normally for your dollar as well. I don't know how Kiwis can actually go around the world on backpackers holidays. Dave D, Stickman. We've got Lauren, Jessie May, good name. I wish I had Jessie's girl. Not literally, mate, but you know. Nicole, Lauren, so do dentists.
Yeah, they're top of the list.
Top of the list.
Farmers are top of the list.
Who was?
Farmers are top of the S word list.
Farmers, there you go.
But veterinarians are second. Then you've got dentists down there, nurses, midwives, those in creative professions.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Those with a lot of the time without diagnosis of things
Yep,
that feel like the world does not make sense.
exactly. And it doesn't for all of us at sometimes. Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Strike W has said, hey, Kaz, only 25 days left until Kapuka and can't wait.
That's not long, mate, but let's do the mathematics on that one W. We'll call it a win ratio right there.
Yep.
25th of October, November, December, means you're going to be halfway through your recruit training boot camp, okay, before you go back, hopefully, onto Christmas holidays, because supposedly the rest of Australia is going to be unlocked. And you know what? You're going to have a lot of time on your hands, just like Gladys is.
Yeah.
Is that too soon?
No, it's not too soon.
Anyway, yeah, I hope that she's guilty for the simple reason, if she's not, it'd be catastrophic. You know, I hate to see people that take their careers are destroyed just by the mantle that they are at the top, without necessarily making the decision that lit the fuse. And talking about lighting the fuse, and I love this backdrop. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
And that is, bam. The fuse is lit from 17. Let's talk about Dave D, who's now a lot older than that. So is Daz. Hope the cows are going well. I hope they're getting enough tit, because I'm not. But the fuse is lit from 17. Let's look at someone who's 17 or 18 years old in chat. Give us a thumbs up or something so we can use your name.
Yeah.
Make you walk away from this going, I felt like you were talking to me, Kaz.
Yeah, because he will be.
I'll tell you what, I got the most annoying goddamn comment today. I actually had to ring Lauren and ask her what the hell is going on. One of the requests I got in comments, can you do a video about enlisting into the Australian Army? Honestly, my head was like a fried red tomato. I was like,
yeah, I was.
You got to be taking the piss.
I was too when you told me. I thought, wait, do you know us?
Hey, here's a fantastic one. We've got Daniel. Oh, Danny boy, don't join the Navy or you'll be a cabin boy. Okay, so Danny McClear. Ibrahim is turning 19 this month. He was only 19 this month. Not the 16th. That's the birthday of Miss Lauren. Here we go. We've got Kane. Make sure you only keep to this one tonight, Kane.
This one,
Boom.
okay.
Natsu cow on a 45-degree angle. Thank you very much, Kane. The parrot of up north, where they're not locked down at all. We've just hit 4 months now. It's out of control. So if you're, 16 as well, Guardian 27. Let's talk about you guys. The guys that are in that bracket between 16 and 19. You know, as we're scrolling along, put a thumbs up when you agree with what I'm saying, as in like lifting a glass, like the rabble that's, yeah, Viking law. When you were 17 years old, teachers, parents, ancestors, society is expecting you to make a lifelong decision right now to know what you want to do for the rest of your life, when you've got another 7 years before you've even got a frontal cortex developed to understand whether you prefer dogs over cats. But we want you to engage in something that will cost you potentially a fortune in time, in money, in resources, in, what would we call it? Pressure.
Yeah.
Who is telling you that you need to go and be a doctor? If it's you, that's fine. Who's telling you that they want you to be a carpenter? Is it because your dad did? Who wants you to stay on the farm? Who wants you to fill in the blank? But at 17 years old, those without a calling to go to the military, we'll get into that in a moment, they've all been pressured into something, and predominantly the couple of things that it's about is stability. The other things are financially something that's going to be good, because we're on the mouse wheel thinking the entire life is to see how much money that you can fit into a bank account, and that's a sign of success when it's not. And we'll get into that after as we go down through the list. And we get to which one strikes a chord mostly with you.
Yep.
Okay. So it's important that you listen, because this is something that you should give to someone and let them watch it and then think to himself, because teachers are meant to ask you this. What do you actually want to do? Not your parents, not your girlfriend. What do you want to do? And you're either a clean slate and there's nothing you want to do, and that can be tragic.
It can.
Or you might be someone that goes, this is all I've ever wanted to do. Now, what action do I need to take to get there, and who's supporting me? Who's realistically in my corner saying why or why not?
Yep.
So the fuse is lit. Way too much pressure is put on a young brain to make a permanent decision based on something right now that can end up with a HECS debt.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
that could end up with a commitment. And then how do you turn around and say, you made me go into an apprenticeship? And I reckon apprenticeships is one of the biggest mistakes so many people make.
Yep.
Apprenticeships, fantastic. If that's what you want to do.
Exactly.
But what if you're getting pushed into an apprenticeship, and you're more likely to get pushed into a tradeship, or a trade, a university degree, or something to shut someone else up?
Yep.
Okay,
Exactly.
and in the absence of having the stones, the balls, or wanting to just tell people, okay, you end up committing to something, going there, failing it, walking away from it, and it's given you, I won't say it's given you nothing, because life is like, especially when you're young, is like a bowling alley. And what happens is there's no bumpers. So you make mistakes. You can go off the tracks left, you can go off the tracks right. You know, and you may not get back on and hit any skittles whatsoever. Your life can be over economically, snuffed out because of the decisions that you've made, that even if you're not in prison, even if you don't have a record, you could have done something that is administrationally put you so far behind. It could be a baby at 17 or 18 or 19 where responsibility takes over, and now it's got nothing to do with what you want ever again.
That's true. That's a lifelong commitment.
Yeah. So the fuse, Lauren, is lit from 17, and I think we need to take some of the pressure off the kid.
Yep.
You know, the danger is if you also give them a gap year. I'm not talking about military gap year. What can happen is you can give them free time to create those irreversible, life-making, altering decisions. Hey, look who's here. The
Aussie
paramedic.
player.
Guys and gals, for
Aussie.
those that don't know, a bit of time out for a second. Lauren, can you please let everyone know who Aussie Player 100 is?
Certainly. He's an expat Aussie living in Berlin who is a paramedic.
He is. What do you do for a living? As he smokes a pretend cigar.
Yep.
I save lives.
Save lives.
What?
Exactly.
Are you religious? You must
Yeah.
be, because you're looking at an angel.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate to tell you, team, he's my favourite subscriber.
That's fine. That's fine. That's okay. You're allowed favourites.
Okay,
And then there's Emmanuel with a green cow right behind.
Emmanuel. What's your question, Emmanuel? And I love your name too. You sound like you can play the piano beautifully. Aussie player. We always ask you this as you throw euros at us with a, what do we call it, a jaundiced cow there.
Yeah.
What is the number of lives you've saved since the last stream, please, sir? Let me know.
And Emmanuel has said in a comment, "G'day Kaz, off to 1RTB
That's Kapuka.
on Thursday. Thanks for all the wisdom."
Hey? And well, this one's for you too, mate, because you've probably got people right now going, Emmanuel, okay, what are you doing? Why, Emmanuel, I think of Macron here. That's his first name, isn't it? The French president?
I don't know.
Emmanuel Macron?
Yeah, Emmanuel Macron or something.
We won't hold that
Macron.
against you, mate. And guess what? We've got an
Yeah.
Aussie player who's over there to change your name for you if that's the case, Mr. Macron.
Exactly.
Because I can get a macaroon over here too.
Yeah.
That was shit. Okay, so
Stickman had something valuable to add to the conversation.
yep, throw it in there.
Okay. He said, well, what else are like kids to do? They can always switch, if they go and get an apprenticeship and that. And that's true too. And he said that their grandparents made those decisions after puberty, but so did we. Like I was in the workforce when I was 14, and then I was full-time in the workforce when I was 15. And so, it seems to be different now, I think.
I think the people tend to just put you into a position there where they expect you to stay in that lane forever, but still chop and change jobs every 2 years in the corporate sector, and tell you that's a good idea when that's a bad idea, because you've absolutely told everyone, I am not loyal to your firm. You pay me and I get poached, I move on, and I don't give a damn. And that is the way a narcissist thinks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're
Rural
right.
Hunter.
Yeah, Rural Hunter.
He's Rural Hunter. Have you got your gift? I'll let him know. Rural Hunter was the one that sent me the 4 family bags of tubes that came in this box here without his address on. And as the American Indians do, I've sent him something in return. It's either there already, okay, or it should be there very soon, Rural Hunter.
Or it's on its way.
And can I give you one confession? Every one of the bags, family bags, was already opened in the box. I don't know whether that was a sick joke or they came apart in freight, but they weren't stale. So that forced me to eat all 4 packets, Quattro, in 2 days, and now my tongue feels like a convict's back that's been caught stealing. But I don't regret a thing.
You don't regret any of it.
It was great. So the fuse is lit. Okay, people go and do their apprenticeship. Could you imagine doing 4? Okay, we'll say you do it at 16 or 17 or 18. Could you imagine the way their father would look at you, but if you turn around and go, I don't want to do this anymore? Because people will say, the military, what does it give you when you get out? What does a carpenter get when they get out? There would definitely be skills. What would a plumber get if they decide they don't want to do that? They'll definitely get skills. I don't know what they are. Okay, what about a chef? That'd be awesome, but no dramas. So what I'm saying is you can categorize and put military in this box, but the military gives you so much more. It's paying you to do things you'd pay money for. Okay, if you could watch 2 shows, The Block, watching tradies, or you could watch SAS Australia, Channel 7, Ant Middleton yelling at a celebrity or a normal normie that we don't know, and watching if they fail, do they pass? What's the test? Could I do it? You know, the military teaches you to understand you. You know, what can I do? Where's my failure point? It's going to take me overseas. Some people would never travel overseas in their life. Before they know it, in the military, before they're 21 years old, they're in a foreign country, holding a weapon of war in their hands, but with a smile on their face, holding the child's hand and escorting them from danger. And what that gives you in return, okay, will last a lifetime. Yeah. So let's get on to the second point here, Lauren.
Okay.
Can you actually see the screen at the moment, love?
Yeah, I can see the screen, but I might have a little lag.
How good is it, bud? How good is that? That
Right?
guy's done such a good job.
Yeah, beautiful the way that camera motion is moving through it all.
Yeah. Support a non-support team. Now, I'm going to throw a little bit of a pardon out to the people who don't support you in wanting to go to the military. We do understand that you are 1 in 2,758 people, okay, who actually understands what you want to do. The 2,578 people probably don't. So they're asking you from perspective of someone that this is not their dream choice, this is not their dream career.
Yeah.
They don't understand it.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
but if
And
they
they
knew
might-
you, they'd understand why.
Yeah, and they might also have a bit of like misconceptions about what it'll be like also.
Yeah, that one, I don't like being told what to do, and people say, you go, like, don't ever get married then. You know, and what job don't you get told what to do? You're either telling people what to do or getting told what to do, and getting told what to do is liberating, because it means that sometimes you don't have to think. You get to relax and just go into do mode.
Yep.
Mohammed, g'day, mate. SAS Australia, of course, mate. Of course.
Yep.
Listening to the Verve.
You know, Yeah.
I'm not a music guy. I've got a brain like a sieve, team. I'm sorry. I like music. I love reactions to music, but I can't remember the words. I can't remember my own poetry lyrics at all.
Bittersweet Symphony, and that's the verse. You'd know it if you heard it. Muhammad also said, but we may never get to go overseas for combat, the new generation.
Be careful what you ask for. Because to go over and do this adventure means you've also got to be prepared to lose your friends in the most horrible ways. Now, we watched on SAS Australia where they bullshitted saying how far they were going on that stretcher carry. I'll tell you right now, that show absolutely lies about the distances. There is no way they did that stretcher carry for 10 kilometres, and I'll explain quickly why. We used to do a thing called a CFA, Combat Fitness Assessment. When you do that, you do it in marching order, with a rifle, with webbing, with pack, and you have 2 hours and 45 minutes. Now, these people, celebrities, never really carried a pack in their life, are supposedly carrying a 75 to 80 kilo stretcher in marching order that doesn't fit them properly, with 2 different people of different heights, with no support team, as well as a stretcher that are doing 2/3 of the 15 kilometre test in 2 hours. So that tells me if you take out the administration time to build that stretcher, it is impossible they went 10 kilometres. And there is no way 2 people could carry a stretcher 10 kilometres in 2 hours. But if you were going to ask someone, and you're going to do that show again, Ant Milton, then what I would have said to them before they started that was picture someone you love. Give me a name, make it real. They're on that stretcher. Make it a humanoid shaped person and say to them, we need you to reassure the patient on the way. Make the distance shorter. But take them down that emotional journey where they picture someone they love on that stretcher, where your fatigue means nothing now. That's where you've got to look at your physical capability and go, now I get it. This is why I need to be fit. This is not attached to push-ups. This is not attached to dips, swimming, etc. This is attached to saving or maintaining a life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've carried stretchers, team, in some of the most horrible situations where we had to choose smaller people rather than adults because of the fatigue levels we're at. I know what it's like to not be able to have another bit of energy left, and so do the brothers that I carry these people with. You know, exhaustion is a terrible thing, but I could only imagine how much worse it would be if it was a friend, you know, who doesn't have the morphine to drown out the sorrowful moans for mum, etc., you know, and know that I failed them from a lack of fatigue because it was avoidable because I'd been negligent in doing what it takes when I wasn't being watched. Will always be tested. Civilian, military, police, fire brigade, paramedic. Anyone can be any one of these jobs. It's can you do it on the day that it mattered? And that's what leadership is about. Can you do it on the day? Can you save the day? Are you better than the person who's looking back at you across the metaphoric battlefield that says to you, today it's between you and me, not those in between us, not those that are beneath us, but you and me. Which one of us has got the decision, action, cycle that moves in a quicker, more succinct manner that takes the day, that forces the other to understand that the only thing sadder than a defeat is a victory.
Yeah, and it's that emotional fatigue also, you know, like if they're just carrying a stretcher with weights on it, I guess they're not understanding the emotional pressure either.
Yep. And the weirdest thing is, there was 4 pairs, and they had 2 people pull out from the start. Kobe, okay, and the young model girl. They should have said to them, "You're the people that are on the stretcher. Instead of 2 people per stretcher, now it's 4 per stretcher. Real humans on them. You need to get them to the vehicle."
Yeah, and I imagine in the field, whoever needs to go on the stretcher goes on the stretcher, right?
The what?
Whoever needs to go on the stretcher goes on the stretcher.
Sometimes a good person to put on a stretcher in a physical activity is the actual leader of the event.
Yeah.
Or someone you don't like, someone the team doesn't like, because then they have to look after the person that put them in the position they had to carry someone through that scenario. and has to look up at him the whole time, and you're like, don't you dare go to sleep. Don't go to sleep.
What about in a combat situation where whoever needs to go on the stretcher needs to go on the stretcher? They might be the biggest guy you've got there.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's another that comes back to our women in infantry conversation.
Well, in that case, you know, I would be willing to say, let's say, for example, Nicole King and I are in the position.
Yep.
I would say to Nicole King, okay, despite the fact that I'm a section commander, yeah, I would say, Nicole King, you need to be the commander for this. I would relinquish my administrational command, still give her tips, but from there I would be the person on the vehicle, on the stretcher.
Yeah, you'd
because
have to.
I have to trust my whole team to step up. And I'd say to Nicole, this is more my strength.
Yeah, you'd have to.
Okay, and not just because of my physical strength and robustness when I was a military guy, but because I'm going to be a height that is more in line with those I'm carrying with.
Exactly.
Yeah. So a lot more goes into it than people expect.
Is an important skill too.
Yep.
You know.
And you've got to leave ego out. And that's why I'd say, Nicole, no problem. You're in command now. Giddy up. So support or non-support of the team, Lauren. Why don't you ask the people that question you about going to the military and ask them, well, what do you suppose I do instead? You're telling me not to do this, but you're not giving me a solution. What would you rather me do instead?
They would. They'd give you a million things.
And then you
So
go,
really,
so...
You just have to be able to, you have to have the courage of your convictions. So
and be able to explain to people there's invisible skills, there's invisible wants, and there's big hearts that live amongst people with small hearts, givers and takers.
Yeah. Everyone has their own motivations for doing things, and I think the better you know your motives for wanting to join the military, the better soldier you'll be.
Absolutely. And by the way, team, because I'm using Mr. Gould's backdrop all the time, I'm going to look on his channel, PC Gould, and I'll make a significant donation to his channel. That doesn't get many subscribers, it doesn't get many views, but this is the quality of work he does and goes undiscovered. All because he hasn't got his own face and voice attached to the channel.
Oh, that's a shame. Aussie player agrees. Emotional pressure. He says it's a bitch. Yep.
It is. You could not be a paramedic unless you had a calling to be one.
Yeah.
And Aussie players probably seen it before and said, what are you doing here? Your actions and compassion don't meet your ability.
Yeah, exactly. Jessie May wants to know, will the live stream be on the channel to watch later? Yes, it will,
yes,
Jessie.
Mate. Of course.
Yep, they all are. Put them on and go to sleep.
That's it. And when in doubt, listen to the first interrogation of Chris Watts, because it's sort of monotone. It goes for hours.
It's very interesting too.
So interesting. Male and female using both genders' skills to pick a guy apart.
Yep.
When he could have walked from that room, but they had him boiling in the water like a frog, not realising.
Yeah, they pulled his brain apart.
Life versus money. Now, I've said this before, Aussie player, and I believe that you'd be very similar in that. Dave D, exactly the same. He straddles both sides of this equator. And that is, what is most important to you? Is it having a life, or is it acquiring resources? What is the most important to you? Because resources will come regardless. And the army does get paid significantly well when you start to add up the things like the rent, free medical, okay, the travel, the adventure, the time, which has a value of itself throughout school holidays, every school holidays, Christmas holidays, you know, getting paid travel home, having paid travel to your next of kin's or family's address if there's an incident that requires within 2 hours you can be pulled out of field on a plane, excluding COVID lockdown, and be travelling on compassionate leave to them, all paid for by the Crown. You know, there is so many advantages. Food, so many. Doing your gym during work hours. Fitness during work hours. Having an Olympic pool you don't have to clean but can swim in, piss in as much as you want. All men piss in the pool. Give me a thumbs down up there if you don't piss in the pool.
I want to know.
All blokes do it. Why would you get out just to twinkle there? The whole reason they have, what do you call it, chlorine, is because they know you do it.
No, look, as long as there's no Band-Aids floating around, I'm happy.
Be a paramedic when you can't get into medicine. Completely different. It's a completely different role.
Yeah.
Completely different. The paramedic is the one that saves the life. He is there for the golden hour that takes the person when they are most Humpty Dumpty and then passes them off where they can have stabilised that individual. Okay, put the electrolytes into a bag that's flowing into the veins, arteries. Okay, the intravenous drugs, the controlled drugs that go in to give that person and their family some level of confidence they may make it through. Okay, and don't panic. I've seen doctors panic before. One of the other things of being in the military is I worked in the hospital. I worked in the trauma unit, in Rwanda, and saw the worst of injuries.
Awful.
And quite often it was the registered nurses that won the day.
Yeah, and I don't think they're in competition with each other.
Nope, it's a team.
They're totally different. Yeah, different parts of the same machine.
Someone carries the gun. Someone carries the M417.
Exactly.
Someone carries the grenade launcher. Someone carries the tactical mind.
Exactly. It's a war machine, and it takes all those parts to make it work.
Yep. You've only got to lose one bit of Lego.
Yeah, exactly.
Jay Hayes, don't piss in the pool if it has the purple dye. Mate, I've proved that to be a myth in every pool I've been in.
There you go.
And Jay, if I come over and I go to your pool, I'm going to piss in that too.
Yeah.
Dave D, just don't piss in the pool while standing at the edge. It's too...
Come on.
No, it's the face that makes it obvious.
How did this party get so rough so quick?
Which party?
Our party here. It didn't take us long to devolve.
No, it didn't, because we're speaking real here. Okay,
Yep.
Life versus money. Put it in perspective.
Yeah,
One day
exactly.
you're going to be thinking to yourself, oh, look at that lucky accountant. You know, look at his boat, but he hasn't got a tan. He hasn't been outside.
Yep.
Bam, next one. Career over a job. You know, jobs can pay a lot, okay, but there's no respect to it. It is a ladder, a corporate ladder you're climbing up. It could be a mouse on a wheel. It could be something that absolutely sucks. A career allows you to go in a lot of the time without university and be able to start from the bottom and through hard work.
Yep.
Okay, ascertain and go up a chain of command through trust, okay, through diligence, through hard work, through the little bit that most people don't see but the boss does. Okay, what you do extra that makes you the guy that is reliable, because reliable is better than good.
Yeah. It's consistent.
There you go, Dave Penson, Vietnam. That's where he is. He had a paramedic pick him up. Don't tell me you were choking on a tarantula that they eat raw in Vietnam.
No, this is when he was in the army.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was my TPT corporal.
He's transport corporal.
Right when he was serving. So much respect.
Do you know his name, Dave? We'll call him out.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And we're glad you're here, Dave.
Yeah, we are glad he's here. We need a Vietnam veteran with us.
Yep.
We've got Daniel McAleer
Yep.
to the Great Unwashed, a new member.
That's a kraken.
Fantastic. We haven't got the actual Kraken on us, so that's tentacles coming out to you, mate. Welcome to the team.
Yeah.
Let's address this one quickly. I had
Okay.
we put up a couple of days ago a point about the channel. Look, when I looked it up from my, I looked it on the phone. I thought, what's going on with the channel? And I looked it up, and the phone that I looked on it is not logged onto my channel, and it was 34 videos down before the first In the Trenches with Kaz video came up. Other people have said for them it was 4. Other people said it was number 3.
Yep.
But when I looked at the actual analytics of our channel, it was quite alarming to see, because this is a service channel. This does things to assist you, not just to entertain. And it was very surprising to see out of the channel that we could have, because bigger is always better, because this is also about the voice of reason from you, from me, from Lauren, that is to give you a passive way to go, so life can be different. There is people that think like me, but when you watch the channel and understand that less than 19% of people that watch this channel have actually subscribed, that was a real ass kicking. It really was, because it's free to subscribe. You can do it on a TV, you can do it on a phone, you can do it on a tablet, not a Viagra, but 18% is a pretty shitty level of people to tick subscribe.
Yeah,
You know,
there's lots of reasons why you should subscribe. One is because you never know when Kaz is going to surprise you with the exact piece of information that you need and that you can't get anywhere else. Also, if you subscribe, then you can join in the chat with all the rest of the great community, and there's lots of veterans in there from all walks of life and all different roles, and they may be able to answer your question as well. And we always like to see you say g'day in the chat.
we do. Oh, Danny, our newest member, says that that's exactly how you pronounce the last name, Kaz. McAleer.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, mate.
McAleer.
Good. I'm glad I got it right. Mucho respecto to you. We've got eatery here. Now I'm hungry. I just put sausages for the first time in the air fryer. Fantastic. Okay, that was basically 13 minutes, 200 degrees, fire and forget.
Yeah.
Primo.
Yeah, I like them in the oven. Yeah, Eatery had some bad news.
Oh, no.
Eatery did go away to Kapuga, but then couldn't make it through the training, decided that he probably had more mental health injuries than he realised. And this is why we say to you, when you come in and say, hey, I've got ADHD, do you think I can still join? Hey, I've had depression, do you think I can still join? Hey, I had some anxiety, do you think I should still join? Or do you think I can still join? The question is, should you? And it's for your own care that we say, maybe you should reconsider that.
Yeah, because it's not something you get to try before you buy.
No,
okay,
exactly.
and the payment for it can be catastrophic if you don't fit in with the team, and feel like, oh no, I've made a mistake here. It's not easy at all. And there's a reason why when people want to be entertained, they go and watch the military on the TV, especially when it's to do with shows like the SAS Australia and that, because they want a snapshot. Most people that want to know what's on the other side of the fog, what's on distant shores, how deep is that water, what does the bottom feel like, could I eat that in one sitting, could I jump that gap? They're the sort of people that take our society forward. We wouldn't know there was an America, we wouldn't know there was an England, okay, we wouldn't know there's an Africa if people hadn't one day looked out into the morning mist and said, I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to get in a boat that leaks in the first 100 metres and I'm going to see what's on the other side of that flat earth.
Yeah.
Which is round.
The Eatery was at Cerberus trying out the Navy.
Okay.
It's probably just as well you realised there and didn't do yourself any more damage, Eatery. But we're glad you're here. We want you here for the ups and the downs. Guess who's here?
It is.
Turret.
Yep. It's Mr. Woodhouse. Fighting the turret with Swar. Good to have you here. Our armoured professional guru, okay, over here, who shares the line with Kaz. Were you Red Knight or Blue Knight? I was Blue Knight, I think. I think I was friendlies. You were enemy when we were in the brigade headquarters. Mate, great to have you here. Very inconsistent with his channel, and I know everyone here would love to talk to you more often, mate.
That's true.
Let's have a conversation the next 2 days, see where you're at, my man.
Yeah, you should get him in on a Brady Bunch.
I'd love to have him here on a Zoom call with Armoured Corps, okay, Signals with Mr. Buckaroony, Kaz with infantry, and the one that used to tattoo us all, Lauren.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd have much to add, but I could sit there and smile and nod.
That's all I do.
Yeah, Carl P's just popped in. He's at a barbecue, just popping in to say hello. Hello, Carl.
I hope they've got tofu there, mate. You're a good vegan. Jackson Middleton. Carl, let's have a chat tomorrow too, mate. I've got to talk to Walshy too, who is the sheepdog. Yeah.
Yep.
Over 6'6", I think he said he is.
Wow.
You know, ex-professional, what do you call it, basketballer, who's having a difficulty explaining that BMI, when you weigh that much, when you're that big a man, and he can already pass a BFA, fitness is his life, you know, and he's hit a hurdle too. You know, so we're going to have a talk, see what we can organise there.
Indeed. Indeed. Eldest has asked, is fitter armament a decent role to look into?
Well, that's it is. That's like a trade. That's like Ramey. Yeah. You know, that's that is a trade in itself. There is nothing sexy about that job, but you'll be wearing the uniform, family name, Australian flag on your shoulder. You know, you're absolute necessity to what we do. You're a hinge pin. It's just what you want out of this, man. That's all.
Yikes, he's 6'8".
6'8" is the sheepdog.
That's a giant man.
It is a giant man. You know, you can't drive a Prius when you're 6'8".
I know, you've got giant's blood in you.
And what sort of, you know, everyone looks up to you when you're 6'8".
Yeah, it's true.
We said some other things between ourselves that were quite funny too. Here's one of our fantastic Patreon members too. Make sure you like it at the moment, team, if you do. And it's great to have the sheepdog with us. You know, we're going to have a chat tomorrow. We've got it sorted out. And if you want to be on the Bat Phone team, all you've got to simply do is go on to Patreon. Okay, it's safe to do so now because the new Patreon's clicked over, so you won't get hit for join at the end of last month and then at the start of this month. You only get charged once a month, Bat team, and it's the price of a cup of coffee.
Yep, I just put the link in.
Okay, Nicole King, sheepdog, as soon as you are a short man. No, everything is in proportion to, he says. You know what they say about big feet?
Good grief.
More tinea.
Order.
More tinea. That's.
Yeah, that's what they say. Of course it is.
We want our sheepdogs to be big too. We want the wolf to see them from afar. And who is less understood than the sheepdog? There's two things that is not understood that I see. One is the lion, and one is the sheepdog. There he is surrounded by those that think, oh, you've got an easy life. You go, on the hard day, I've got the hardest life. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't get to walk away.
Yep. G. Miller has just asked, is it easier to get into the reserves than full-time army? Or is it the same standard as far as the assessment days goes?
It's basically the same.
Yeah, and my question would be, if you're worried about, if you're letting what's easier determine or play a part in your decision making about which to go to, you might regret that. It's like when someone comes in and they say, oh, I just want to get a small tattoo to see how it feels, and that, don't do that. Get the one you want.
Yeah.
And work towards what you need. And do the work, you know, meet the standard. If it's educational standards you need, there is lots of even adult education things that you can do to reach the standard. I think go for which you want. If you want reserves, go for reserves. If you want full-time, go full-time. You might really regret it.
And I would say do not join reserves because you're too scared to join regular. If you have nothing else lined up, you join the regular, you bite down on the leather, and you have a go. Because one thing they don't tell you about reserves as well is it's very serious. You know, you can treat it like a hobby if you want and do the minimum amount of time, you know, and treat it like it's some tax-free money. But if something occurs and you get called up, your actual civilian job disappears and you are now called based on your signature. So never think that there's not teeth behind the signature that you have. Okay, it is a serious role. Aussie player, 6'8". You imagine him on the stretcher, but they've got the special stretchers over in the US now made for the bigger people.
Yeah.
You know, that need a whole new ambulance as well.
Yeah, indeed.
We've got another one. We've got this gentleman here who's looking at me, my doubting Tom, if you'd call it that.
Yeah, another barista.
I love, mate. Aussie Player 100. Do you see that there is a definite similarity to a barista and a paramedic because they're both there to save lives. The coffee that you make for a mother or father,
it might have been offensive.
I'm sure that he's a coffee drinker. That shot of coffee, can actually stop an ass kicking sometimes. It prevents lunacy.
Yeah.
You're a champion, nothing less. Relationships.
Yeah.
The career you go for attracts a certain sort of person.
And that's very true.
Yep.
Especially in my line of work. That is very true.
Yep. You'll be associating. Well, let's use Lauren for an example.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong here.
Yeah.
The three sorts of people that are going to come to Lauren
regularly
are going to be
yeah.
law enforcement and military.
Yep.
Okay. Criminal element.
Yep.
And those with troubled souls a lot of the time.
Yep.
They're putting a message that are there. They want to be seen. There's something, I don't know, a transfer of mindset onto the artisan's flesh.
Yep. Yeah, no, exactly. And in fact, in my industry, in some states, depending on which state you work in Queensland, you have to be careful of your associates because you can all of a sudden find out you're breaking the law by even just having an association with someone that you shouldn't. So it's those anti-association laws, which are very, very strange. They've been in for a long time now, and they're a little bit dangerous.
Absolutely. And that can go for military because you've got to remember at the end of the day that you still have to do your secret clearance vetting. And they will look at everything to do with you. It's very, very complex. It's worth a fortune to get done. And if you leave anything unturned, they'll find it. And it can prevent you from having a great life. We had a good one here with Senior Miller. No, it was just a curiosity. I'm going reserves, hands down, going through the Indigenous pathways first, hopefully. Mr. Miller, what I'd advise to you to do is completely forget about the Indigenous side unless you hit a wall that you can not get past. You do not want to go in to the Army Reserve and use identity politics to leverage getting a job over other people.
Because I bet you can do it. I bet
that's right. Go in there.
Plenty of Indigenous folks have joined before you without needing it. I bet you can do it.
Every single platoon that I've been in the military has an Indigenous member.
Yeah, I bet you can do it.
I bet you can too. Yeah, I bet you can. Fighting the turret, and that goes for females. Don't try and be part of quota. Okay, try to get in there from yourself so you can say, no, did this on my own merit, mate.
Yeah, you can hold up your head high. Yeah, and no one can take it off you.
Let's throw a caveat in there, but if you cannot, also don't be too proud if they offer you the bone and say to you, mate, we're going to throw you a lifeline and you do qualify under this, then take it.
Yeah, absolutely. We would never we would never hold it against someone taking an opportunity that makes something available that wouldn't otherwise be available.
Sometimes I'm the last guy at the taxi rank, and I tell the girls, I'm the last chance you got.
You don't want to be the last guy.
And I come with a kebab.
Well, that's a bonus.
Take me for half now.
That's a bonus.
Fighting the turret with Swar. Here's a smooth one with the ladies. They love him for a night. It also depends what you want to do, as some reserve positions are not the same as full-time. Armoured reserves will not get any quals on the real armoured vehicles, so your job would suck, just saying.
That's a fair point.
And it depends on the unit you're in, okay, on how funding it is, how remote it is, etc. There's jobs up in Nullumbai where they will come and pick you up. And that a lot of that's Indigenous orientated, will come and pick you up from your house, take you, pay you, and then drop you off home. That's it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's all right. All right, there's heaps of messages. There was a question back here from Simply John. Is there an opportunity to be granted study with ADFA after you've already joined, and are you working as a GI? I don't know if I understood any of that.
General enlistee?
I think he means general infantry, doesn't he? Isn't that what GI Joe was?
General enlistment.
Oh, right.
Which is with the knee. I understand what he's saying, like general entry sort of thing. There absolutely is education packages, scholarships, etc., that you can do while you're in the military because they see that as upskilling. What it doesn't do is let you get out of your normal commitment to work. You can go on courses, you can go on language courses. There's so many things that you can ask if I can go on. Just like one of our subscribers who's currently on his sniper's course. I won't say what battalion he's at, and he's passing so far. Fantastico.
Yeah, and love to his lovely
lady.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of things that you can do during that time if you use your nous, if you let your platoon commander know, because every month you will have a sit down. This is something that doesn't happen in any civilian role that I know of. You will get monthly feedback for your career. Are you above average or below average? Every single month. It is a requirement that you are given that. And that is attached to your yearly report, okay, which has to be the sum of 12 months reporting that goes into that report by military law.
Yeah.
So if it has not been brought up for you in a performance sit down during your month, so to speak, and you can always come back and go, how was I meant to know this? So that cannot be put in your yearly report. That gets taken out. Same deal when we used to write reports for people, and it happened for us. They would say, okay, Dave Penson, for example, what have you done this month that I may not have seen you do? What's the extracurricular stuff that makes you so important? Okay, I'm glad you asked. I do this on weekends. I do this after hours. This is something else I assist others with. Fantastic. And then that goes in the report.
Yeah, because that's all about who you are as a whole person.
Stevie Webb baristas are champions, my friend. Xbox kid, putting a thumbs up. Be careful. Ivan Milat knows where you live now.
David Penson said, I was a training, I think that's warrant officer, is it? WO?
Yes.
At a reserve unit, and I hated it. They thought it was a game until I got there, and I treated them as regular soldiers. It was hard days, but it was a long time ago.
Yep, you can turn people around when you get there, and you can see that there might have been hands off the wheel, and you let the kids go crazy. Yeah. And then it needs someone to come in and stamp the feet. I did that with the redetails at the 3rd Battalion when I rocked in there, and guess what? They were stoked to have me there.
Yeah, I bet in the end, there's a lot of stuff who appreciated it.
You bring standards and pride back.
Indeed. Are you okay for a few more comments?
I love the comments.
Okay, Dale Mortimer has said he's seeking advice on enlisting in my late 30s.
Yep.
I may have missed the boat.
No, but you do have to have serious look at yourself and go, I understand that I've had priorities before now that prevented me from following my own dreams. We spoke about this earlier on when we talked about support, non-support, life versus money, expectations, responsibilities, etc. And now you've got a moment of clarity where this is about you now, Dale. So what you need to do is you don't go in and try to join infantry at 30. Your maturity at 30 plus, your maturity level is not going to be the same as them. You know, it's not up to them to accept you with you questioning everything and the new version of you, not having that sort of intersectionality with the young guys. Your maturity level will be an asset for the military. You know that you're not going to make it to the highest levels because of it still takes time to go through courses, seniority, etc. So what I'd recommend that you look at serious roles within the military that will give you that uniform, and that is signals. Okay, potentially CAV. Okay, probably not. Engineers, depending on what your trade skill set is. Okay, or something like MPs, I don't normally recommend. Intelligence Corps, your analytical skills, will be primo because that requires maturity as well. And life experience wrapped into the decisions you make based on wisdom mixed with intelligence. So, mate, absolutely, you can join. Okay, if you want to go to infantry in late 30s, that's okay, because that is a pizza supreme of characters that turn up for a short period of time that you can hold it together long enough to be able to, one, enjoy yourself, two, tick off those, get your testosterone firing again.
Yep, add value.
Yep, and again, the maturity, the fun, and you know what? Yep. Everyone I know that goes to Army Reserve normally loves it, and it makes them a better dad at home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, better lots of things. Rural Hunter said that they're sorry to hear that your tubes exploded.
That's fine.
Is assuring you that they were sealed when they sent them. You know what I think happened?
What's that?
I think if they were sent on a plane, I bet it was the
pressure.
Yeah, that
of course, the precioso.
Yeah, I bet that's what happened to them.
Rural, you know what, but mate? That was like me being a commander in a tactical opportunity where I had not enough time to achieve mission success, and I looked through all of that pain, and I ate those tubes, and I got that MSG, and I put it on my tongue. I treated it like a Pakistan runway, you know, and now all of those chips, every single one you sent me, not only did it give me MSG overload heartburn, but every one of them has now come out me clacker and is now in a shit house. So
we don't need to know that.
Hey, we've got 1,000 viewers worth of sesterces.
One Lazy Jam.
From Lazy Jam. Wait a second. Nutsu Cow, mate, good to have you here with the 1st Battalion. Okay, the big blue one's donation. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we're not going to read out his dono message that he wrote later.
Oh, okay. Am I getting bagged out?
Come on now. Okay, and there's Was as well with a light blue cow.
It is too. 299, which means it's the Spartans at Thermopylae minus one of the cowards that escaped.
Yeah.
There's always a jersey wearer that gets the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah. Daniel McAleer has asked, is 2nd Battalion RAR training any harder than any other training in the other battalions?
Where was that one?
That's Daniel McAleer. Is 2nd Battalion RAR training any harder than any other training in the other battalions?
It's amphibious, mate. It's recon based. Reconnaissance based means it's not about getting in combat. Okay, it can do that. It can prosecute targets. Okay, with precision weapon systems, its job is to get in and make a point of entry that hopefully has not been expected, okay, by an opposition force. So their job is to train predominantly within the conventional training continuum towards stealth. Up armored, very hard, arduous, what would you call it? Repetitive training to make drills. Fitness, I would say, they're probably peaking with the fitness level. There's less of them, which means they stand out more, which means that they're identifiable, which means they're held to high regard. I believe that the 2nd Battalion, it's hard. It's not fair to say they're the best battalion, other than the fact that I'm from the 2nd Battalion, which makes them the best battalion, second to none, of the Royal Australian Regiment, best small army in the world. But in saying that, their role is different to the conventional warfighter. Seek out and close the enemy, kill or catch him, seize and hold ground, repel, attack by day and night, regardless of season, weather, or terrain. So their training is different, harder in many ways. But, yeah, it's a different one. It's a different life.
Yeah, okay. John has another question. What are the main differences between RAR infantry types? Motorised, mechanised, amphibious light infantry. Are all skills transposable to other infantry types?
Every single person that's been motorised is basically exactly the same as people in mechanised. That is the description of the vehicle, whether it be wheeled, whether it be tracked, etc. The armament that's on them, okay, the weaponry that's on them, lethality. If you are the infantry that is inside the vehicle, okay, you need to accept that the commander normally stays in the vehicle. You disembark the vehicle. You are the one that, with the 2IC, that will help the defile drills where there is choke points, etc. but you are part of the skeleton of that vehicle crew, but you don't have a role in that vehicle if you're not the navigator, the commander, the tactical employment of that vehicle. If you're not the driver and the gunnery, you're sitting in the back goofing off, probably having a sleep, complaining about the air conditioning and how it makes your nipples rub on your uniform. So that's like when we're with the Navy, when we're in planes, when we're in helicopters. You know, it doesn't matter where we go, we need to be a jack of all trades. We don't specialise. We can all do recon, okay, just not to the level of recon platoon, which is predominantly only for recon. So you need to be able to do everything, which is why when I had a great talk with Sebastian today, he basically shit himself when he brought up swimming. Is that important? You're going, well, swimming, it's about confidence in water. Although the swim test might only be 30 metres, 30 metres non-arm core, 50 metres arm core, okay, with a 2-minute bloody swim time, you know, for treading water, that's not going to get you enough unless you fall out of a ferry at Manly. So what actually occurs is, it's just a tick, something to say that you have, okay, confidence in water. When in actual fact, when you were tested within your military career within water, it could be 2 o'clock in the morning, marching order, getting over the side of equivalent to a level CM8 into a landing craft or in a vehicle that is able to swim, similar to a, what do you call it? One of the multitude of vehicles I've vomited in my helmet in. And you get into one of those. You might be doing a water crossing across 100 metres. You know, so when you can't turn around and go, I can't swim. Go, what? Also, when I take you for PT, people like me, you know, I take you there because you've already done it really, really hard physically in something else. So I'm going to take you there, but I might absolutely trash you in the pool where the first 2 or 3 laps are warm-up laps to pre-fatigue you before I put you through the ringer, but don't hurt you, but exhaust you and give you the impression that you can't breathe, while at the same time you feel like you can't swim. You need to work on the things you can't do, because then you'll be an all-round package and you don't have a secret fugazi skill that can be exploited. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you cover the relationships section of your little list there?
Not really. So relationships is the people that you want to hang out with. Do you want to hang out with accountants the rest of your life? No. Do you want to just spend it at a pub on Fridays and Thursdays with other tradies? If the answer is yes, fine. With a ranger, okay, don't drink and drive. Okay, with a football team that never wins. Okay, like Penrith this weekend maybe. Okay, no matter what it is that what you want the people to be like that you're around? Do you want it to be like military guys? Do you want it to be analytical people? Do you want to be in the corporate sector where you don't really have a true friend at all? You know, what's more important to you, money versus living? Do you want to be around the women that come for military sort of guys? Fast relationships, jobs, not careers, if you look between the lines. There's so many different things. And the relationships, you know, what sort of person and people do you want in your life for the rest of your life? Because when you join the military, it is a valve that you can't go backwards. Once you go down there and you join the military, you will change in many ways that your family will see straight away when they see you. And there is a dark humour that you have, but there is also a team building requirement that you will also sustain idiots, you know, in the line of mateship as well. So relationships, do you just want colleagues at work, or do you want people that are more like brothers, friends, mates, some there for life, some there for the short time? But overall, most people join the military not for the flag, but for the people that are to the left and right of them. You know, relationships are a really important one.
Yeah. Nicole think boozers are better than pubs. I don't know. I've never been in a boozer.
Not from a man's perspective. When there's 4 girls, you know, at the boozer, you know, if you've got a face like mine, you know, and you're no good at karaoke, holy shit, I might as well be a redhead with square wheels in the bloody, what do you call it? What's the France race? Tour de France.
Tour de France.
Okay, and this is what it mostly gets to looking at. no matter what jobs you have. You've got Daz, who's the farmer. Okay. I don't even know what you do, Jay. What do you do, Westside? We've got Simon Powell, Raffy. Boozers are great. I miss them so much. Yep. Some people are addicted to the boozer.
Yeah, they can't. They're not really great for a lot of folk either. We have to remember that too.
Yeah, it can be bad if someone has a problem with substance abuse, alcohol.
Yeah,
Just thought the stream was a place you could get advice. My bad. What are you talking about? Of course you can come here and get advice.
Listen, there's some people who are getting a little bit shirty with the moderators. If the moderators have removed one of your messages or have timed you out or something, there will be a reason why they've done it. So rather than having a crack at the moderator who did that to you, you're better off looking back at what you wrote or what you did and try and find out what you did. And yes, it is somewhere where you can come and get advice, but do be careful what you ask and do be careful about the way you do it.
Yep. Well, because you've got to remember too that sometimes I just read the comment out. I don't have time to see the context until it's over. You know, and as someone who's on YouTube, you know, the last thing I want to do is represent yourselves, myself, and the military in a way that can be disparaged. You know.
Except we don't know who you are, and also the way you've written it may not be as humorous as it sounded in your head.
That's true.
Okay. All right.
So looking back, what if you're an accountant, and I'm not trying to slag on people's careers here because often you're not going to know if you've made a mistake until you're actually the mouse on the wheel within the industry that you have now put yourself into. When you look back, our channel is full of people that go, I always wanted to join the army, and they're looking back. When you get to 50 years old and you've got some grey in your beard and you've got grandkids on your knee and they ask you about this or that, Papa, you want to have stories. When someone's at a pub, you want to be able to tell a story. It's hard to tell a story when you're 17. It's hard when you're 21. You know, when you're 30, you should have a fair few. By the time you're 50, you should be able to talk all day.
We got heaps.
Yep, and they happen one experience at a time, and no one wants to hear the things you did well. They want to hear the shit you did wrong, where you tested the buoyancy of something that failed.
Yep.
They don't want to hear the most beautiful girl you've been with. They want to hear the worst, the one with the tusks.
Yep.
Okay? They want to see your worst tattoo, not your best one.
But that's not in my case.
You don't want to see their best tattoo? Their worst tattoo?
I want to see the best one. I don't want to see the worst one unless they need to cover it up. Yeah.
Hey, Fat Kangaroo. How you going, mate? Always good to have you here. Guys and gals, I didn't realise how important looking back was until I got to 50 and I'm getting ready to start my second life.
Yep.
You know, and all of the stories I have had, you could write a bloody book on my life.
You could.
Yeah.
It would be interesting read too.
Well, it's only now I'm starting to fully believe that I do have ADD. Yeah.
I think you do.
You know, and the good thing about when I was growing up and when Lauren was growing up, we'll throw Dave D in there to make him feel like shit too, and Simon Powell. Okay, Dave Penson.
David
Was-
Penson, 59, yep.
Yeah, was no one had heard of something like ADD. No one had heard of dyslexia. No one had heard of any of these things. It's, do you want to have a go? Are you tall enough to represent? Are you here voluntarily? Yep. Okay. Come and have a go. Now there's a title for everything in today's society where a young man or young woman opens their mouth once at the wrong time where they can get diagnosed, and it's literally like someone is chopping their legs out from under them from us ever seeing the potential or the art that came from the way they look at the world as opposed to the way others do. And when we're in a role where this is about finding answers to defeat the threat answers, then there we go. Hey, we've got Christian here.
Christian? Yeah.
Christian.
Yeah.
Mutsu Cow, good to have you here with 5,000 sesterces worth of viewers.
Yeah, it says, thank you for all the content you put out. It has helped me a lot. My enlistment day is the 11th of October.
What's your last meal going to be, Christian?
Yep, that's very, that's exciting now. That's not far away.
It is. And are you in lockdown? Is there one last lady if you don't have a partner? Maybe you are a lady, I don't know. Is there someone you've got a chance to go up to and go, this is your last chance. They've called me. I've got to go, baby.
But looking back is important as you go on to your next life, because you've got to audit what you've done so far.
Yep. And if you have no regrets, you probably are a narcissist or a sociopath.
Probably, I'd say so. If you think you've done everything perfectly, I bet you haven't. Yeah. Bailey's hat says, yeah, everyone I know in the ADF never regretted going, no matter how long they were in for. Yeah, it's true. Look, I know folks who've been really busted up and they still don't regret it.
And there's people that get busted up in their first 4 years. That's the hard thing, where people come in. And let me quickly say this too, Lauren.
Yeah.
And I think you will all agree with that. Nicole King would know this one for sure. When you go to the military, you are going to have injuries. You will. You know, and the more time you spend and the closer you are to infantry, etc., the more chance you're going to have injuries too from being a professional athlete. But that doesn't stop you from doing it. You know, you don't see the people that are trying to get out of an NRL career, you know, when they've got enough money to buy a house. They stay in there because it's their calling, it's what they do. There is a payment, well, you've got to pay the piper for the rewards that you've been given in your life.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
You think you don't, but you do.
Yeah.
Hey, JP's here. He's over with our granddaughters. Right
JP?
now. Yep.
JP, the sniper?
Yep.
One of our subscribers is passing, but he's stressed the hell out his sniper course at the moment, JP. He's shitting himself, but he's still passing, and we all know that it doesn't matter how repetitive it gets, how many stalks you do, how many judging distances, etc. It all comes down to the badge test equivalent, the summative assessment.
Yeah, indeed.
Daz is here.
Yep, that's right. Andrew Lavender says he loves the background.
I'm glad you do, mate. I hope it's not giving anyone some distraction away from the message.
No.
Imagine talking to 20 different people, 2 questions each, that are over the age of 50, and saying, tell us what you've learned in 50 years if you could speak to people about 2 things you learned.
Nice.
It'd be so interesting.
2 things that I've learned would be, one, that when you're young, you think you know a lot more than what you do. The other one, I wouldn't be able to know.
There's one thing I'm starting to learn, and it's really chapping my ass at the moment, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how sad it is, but it is the right thing in some ways, that this Marine colonel that is now in jail for asking for the leadership of the US military, Mr. Milley, to resign from his job, to take responsibility for what they did in the debacle that happened in Afghanistan, and to take some sort of equivalent to what would happen if you were the leader of all of that in Japan in 1945. You know, you'd be making julienne fries out of yourself, you know, for failing in the withdrawal. Now, these guys are saying, no, I won't quit. No, I don't feel bad. I did nothing wrong. You're going, man, when the judicial system in the military tells us that we aren't allowed to talk online, that we're not allowed to roll our eyes, we're not allowed to communicate back to higher ranks while being gagged from having an opinion on things, and then you find out when they stuff up, the people at the highest levels that are more politician than what they are military, and they're actually burning the guy that said words of truth and moral courage. It's so sad to see that they're allowed to just say this, then walk back out of the Senate with blood on their hands and nothing occurs, and they don't look like they feel bad about it. That colonel, he does need to get his ass kicked, because at the end of the day, he knew before he made these statements and held his hierarchy to account what I'm doing is illegal by the judicial system of the military code of conduct. He knew this, but instead he chose to still go down that lane at significant cost to himself to show people that there was a failure. The withdrawal, not Australian withdrawal, ours was successful. But the US withdrawal and leaving Bagram Airfield was a tragedy, and it was a failure, and it had to have been deliberate. Because no one is that dumb.
Yeah. Good night, JP. Have a good sleep.
Good night, JP. Hope the kids aren't in the pool.
Why would we have a pool down here?
True. It's Tasmania.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, let's go for another 4 minutes of questions, and then we'll get out of here. And I really thank you for coming in tonight.
Yeah.
And I'll do the quick summary now, and that is, guys and gals, when the army life, what does it give you? It gives you qualifications. It gives you a bearing. It gives you a legacy. Okay, it gives you relationships and friendships. It gives you resources. It gives you a roadmap to your future based on who you are, the uniqueness that is you, that takes into account all the strengths and weaknesses that you know about yourself after meeting failure, retraining, then success. You know who you are. You know where you've been. Okay, and then you choose. Okay, what bearing you take from there. And again, that will normally be based on something you want to do, not have to do. So it gives you so much that is not quantifiable. You know?
Exactly. And you can never know your own motives too well. Really, it's worth, answering all these questions just for yourself.
Well, even if you said, if I was to go back to that one, fuse is lit from 17. How the hell are you possibly meant to know at 17 what it's going to feel like to be 50 and looking back? And it's not fair for someone to get to 50 and look back and see the entire time the blueprint for the life that they wanted for themselves was hijacked the entire way by... Not that one. Relationships and money over life.
Yeah. Exactly. You do have to, and that's one thing really. If I could go back now to being younger, I'd be freaking dangerous, because you really, the better you know yourself at a young, and that's warts and all, what's wrong with you, what you could improve on, what your personality is, the better you'll do.
Yes. And yes, Simon Powell, I'll definitely have a chat with you, mate.
Yeah, I was just about to ask.
We've been locked down for 4 months. He's probably waiting to get his Fitbit. His Fitbit, as they'd say in New Zealand.
Yeah. Good night, Nicole.
Good night, King of Queens. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Sydney Shaw. What a nice name.
It is. We always love that name. Light 'em up, Kaz and Lauren. You both have a lot of knowledge to pass on. Thanks. You know what? Everyone does at 50.
Exactly. No point getting older if you don't get any smarter.
Yeah. And everyone's going to have regrets about things they should have done. But you know what? How can I complain? I've been over foreign countries with my legs kicking out of the sides of helicopters. Yep. Lived in frickin' Portuguese forts in Asia.
Yep. You've had an amazing life.
Been across the world religious, looked at almost every culture on earth.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, you've had a great life so far, and there's plenty more to come.
There is.
Yeah. Oh, and before we go, I would like you to say happy birthday to our Rose, because it's her birthday on the 3rd
of October.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Trifford, a.k.a. Rose. Happy birthday to you. Hip, hip, hooray, hip, hip, hooray, hip, hip, hooray. How old's she going to be?
Oh gosh, I don't know, 28, I think.
Can we get every single subscriber to give 28 birthday punches at only level 1 hardness on 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, only level 1. Look at Aussie player. That's
Aussie, you got to stop that, mate.
That's too much. We love you too. We think you're awesome.
A menstrual cow.
Yeah, that's a menstrual cow.
Mutsu cow. For those that don't know, that have come in late, can we get some thumbs up? Aussie player is a paramedic. Everything we said tonight would be absolutely relative to a paramedic. When people would go, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to see so much misery? Angel on earth. You know, I feel horrible getting a donation. The money that was paid, the dineros, the euros, to a paramedic. We don't deserve what you had to do to earn that money. So no more from you, but Aussie player, you're a legend.
Exactly. We appreciate you, and we appreciate you representing in here too, because we'd be dead proud of any of our subscribers who went on to become a paramedic or serve in a different way.
Absolutely. And your uniqueness is actually a very attractive feature.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah, look at all those punches for our Rose.
Yeah, boom, boom.
Lightfoot thought Rose was 15 or 16. She just sounds 15 or 16.
She does. Brady, you know, you need to relax, mate. Brady and Fawnsy are going really hard there. You go relax.
Yeah, maybe they know she's single.
She's a beautiful girl. They could use her voice and pay her massive money to be in that Catch a Predator series.
Yeah, they could actually. Yeah, they could. Indeed. In fact, she even quite looks young too. So
she looks elfish. Not selfish.
Like a little pixie. She's my little pixie.
They're all beating her up here. Go Daniel McLear.
She'll love it. She's been crook, so she'll really appreciate that. That'll cheer her up.
Yeah. Guys and gals, we've got the grand final on this week. For those that are into the rugby league, you know, who's gonna get the game? Is it Gold Coast or is it Cowboys playing in Townsville? Who ever thought there'd be a chance of the grand final being played in Townsville because of COVID?
Are the Cowboys in it?
No.
Oh, that's my team.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Bose hat. Go back older videos. What was the question? I can always help people out.
Strike W said, hey guys, what are some facts and fiction about Kapuka training and the instructors about the whole 80 days there? Mum thinks it's going to be like Full Metal Jacket.
No, we don't operate the same as the US. We don't at all. And you know what? Mum, it's your job to take a step back. You know, you've got to let your kids become adults. Yeah. And you know what? You will love what they come back as. And when you come back, you don't cuss in front of your parents if you didn't cuss before you left. Yeah. You know, Kapuka is sometimes the silence is deafening. When someone does something wrong and the commander just looks. We don't need to. You're going to stuff up yourself. When you get yelled at, it's not from anger. It's about move now. Yeah, it'll make sense to you when you get there. Stop trying to over-engineer it and try to be perfectly set up. The whole thing about it is go there, be malleable, treat it like a game show, have a laugh, don't quit, and understand that you don't know what it's like to be a soldier at 4 years as much as you know at 6 or 8 or 10 or 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. You shouldn't be a soldier after 24. Because at the end of the day, that's even longer than what you would have had to serve as an auxiliary in the Roman legion as a Germanian. That's more than I could ask you to do.
Yeah, indeed.
Let's leave Sydney Shore as our last.
Okay. Sydney Shore says, if you have your towel on the wrong shoulder, the instructor will throw the bin down the hallway.
Yeah, but you'll get explained everything. You know, they'll only get yelled at you about something you've been taught, attention to detail that's lapsed or lacking, or people that are taking too long to get something done. That's all. Guys and gals. So that's all for us. I don't know. Is Lauren, are you going over to your channel or not?
I might do later. I might have a cup of tea and that and then go, because we've been building a city because we're going to destroy it. And we actually had quite a lot of fun building it, so we might continue with that.
Is your name Cuomo? Are you Joe Biden?
I'm a great mayor. I am a terrific mayor.
I'm a stallion. If you're a mayor.
That was funny.
Just turned up, have no expectations, make no effort, and yeah, just.
Hi, Rob Wall.
And look, if one thing, don't spend too much money on the photos and shit at Kapuka. They're overcharged. They know you're over emotional. They know that you want something to remember, but you never look back at your Kapuka photos once you've got out of IETs or once you're in the unit, okay? If you want to get it for your grandma and grandpa, that's excellent, okay?
Yeah, your mum and all love them.
Mum and Dad and Danny saw the
Yeah.
March Now parade
Yep.
at Kapuka, but
Yeah.
only because the COVID lockdown was over.
Yeah.
Let's get back to it. Guys and gals, my question to you is, if you had $50,000 and you were going to spend it on toys, what would those toys be? Interesting one. That's a hint of something that's coming up.
Yeah.
See you later. Keep saving lives.
Jodie Stevens is here. Wait, you need to say hello to
Where is she?
Mother. She's just popped in.
Jodie. We've got to give you 5 more minutes, team, because Jodie is from the USA. Jodie is, in all accounts, a gold star mother. Lost her son on operations. We haven't to the effects of operations, and he lost his life at the same time as the amazing Ian Turner. His name was Mr. Meredith Hupp, and we love him.
Yeah,
Yep.
lest we forget.
Yep, James Meredith Hupp, and to Maddie as well. Jodie, it's been too long. We do miss you over at Ohio over there. I know you're in a bit of a shit fight at the moment, but
Yeah. We were just talking about Jodie the other day.
yeah, we're always talking about Jodie, and we hope to get some good B-roll for you, mate. Because as soon as we get out of here, I want to get some great footage, including underwater footage, because I know that the only water you see comes out of the tap, and we really, really respect you, mate. Our US family and everything is going through at the moment.
Yeah, we do. They've had a rough trot, haven't they? Floods, fires, all sorts.
Politics.
Politics, even regardless of the politics. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Jodie's a lovely person who always keeps her chin up. And we can learn a lot from her. Jodie, we're talking today about the last one here, about looking back, the army life. What does it give you that is not necessarily a qualification? It'll give you a lot of qualifications too, by the way. I've got some very successful people. Does anyone look at Dr. Dan Pronk, from SAS Australia? With Ant Middleton. Do they look at the doctor from Special Forces and go, oh, what did the army ever give him? Now he's a celebrity. He's a doctor. He's an athlete. He's Special Forces. He's got more stories than a library. Looking back, Jodie has got a lot of stories. Maddie has got a lot of stories. We've got a lot of stories. And I want you to go and make some stories for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Brady's keen for another marathon stream. Next time, it'll be a Brady Bunch marathon stream.
Okay. You've just said something that could light a fuse. What if we were to do a marathon? Oh, you can't do a marathon Zoom session, can you?
Yeah, why not?
What do I have to do to be able to speak indefinitely?
I'll tell you after this.
Okay. Let's do something. Let's find a recipient and let's do something to change a life.
Oh, all right, let's do it again, because that was great.
Yep.
That was hard. I was having trouble staying at the end, but we did it.
For those that don't know, we did 8 hours last time.
It was
Mr. Miller was saying if he had 50K, he'd be paying off my Compassion sponsor kids.
Yeah, that's lovely.
That is lovely.
Rose sponsors kids too. It's beautiful.
Yep. That is beautiful, because I believe the children are our future.
Yeah, and she does it with Compassion as well. Apparently they're a really good company. They don't overpay their CEOs and that, so a lot of it all goes to the kids.
We need to look into that.
Yeah.
All right, guys and gals, life on the line, Dan Pronk. Yeah, he's a good guy, Lighty. I actually did my barrier test with him in 1999.
Yeah. I never heard of it.
Good looking man. He used to drive a dune buggy.
Oh, maybe I have.
All the ladies loved him.
Yeah.
He was mysterious.
That doesn't mean I did. I'm a bit strange like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great to see you too, Jodie.
Daniel McLeod, good to have you here, mate. As always. Remember, you might come for the heading, but we stay for the conversation. This
Exactly.
is your Aussie Joe Rogan equivalency, where I don't think I'm Joe Rogan. I get that, but my life in many ways is as cool as Joe Rogan's, or has been cool or cooler. And he would say that too. There's things from his life I'd love. There's probably things from my life he would love. We're just people, never lord after people, but do take the wisdom from each person that you like, that you listen to, that you feel a little bit of magnetism for. And out of a 3-hour, 2-hour, or 1-hour stream, there might be 20 seconds that changes your life.
Yeah, everyone's down for a marathon.
Marathon!
Yeah, let's have another marathon.
Oh, no, Jody's loving it.
Yeah, exactly. And Jay still remembers how many cows in the mega stream, so that's really great. Yeah,
There was a lot. The only person that doesn't want the marathon is this guy that's in the back of my wallpaper right here.
Yeah.
He's looking at my back.
Yeah, I don't know. He looks, I don't know.
He looks clean. Hello, sailor.
I bet he's got delicate hands.
He does.
Okay. Thank you for being great contributors tonight, everyone, and especially people who haven't been here too long and being great contributors. We appreciate it.
So, yep, subscribe to the channel. Be here. Press like if you do. If you don't, that's fine too.
Yep.
Okay, looking at doing another video or two in the next couple of days. I'll listen to all the feedback you do. There is no way I could answer all the comments, all of them, while still being on the bat phone, etc. I appreciate what you do. You only get this life once. Make sure you spend it well and fill your heart with love instead of sarcasm and anger.
Yeah,
exactly. And if you hear someone speaking bad about you, you can forgive them. Yeah. It's fine. Don't put someone in the enemy box just because they spoke the truth about you once and you overheard it.
Yeah, look, what other people think of you is actually none of your business.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll double down on it if you tell them you don't like what they think about you.
Yeah, exactly. Don't back people into a corner. When you put people between a rock and a hard place, they don't have anywhere to go.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, members. Thank you, old regulars. Thank you, new regulars. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed and said g'day in the chat. Yeah. We appreciate you.
We appreciate everyone on the channel, and if you need someone that needs someone else in their life, okay, to tear them away from some of the vice-driven or bad advice they're getting, this might be just the place. Drop us a comment or drop us a message. Let their name out. We'll do a call out, and from there, we'll deliver that. See you later.
Yeah, see ya.
See you later. Bye-bye, lovely Jody. Good to have you here too, Nick. Go to bed. Go and give Maddie a massage. See ya.